What's up, y'all? It's Jarrell. Welcome to the Creative Process. And today I actually have my first guest on the podcast, none other than my favorite person in the whole wide world, Janelle. Let's give it up for her. And yeah,
Thanks.
this whole podcast really is about it's called the Creative Process, where we're processing art, faith, and culture. And one of the things that I want to do is to help humanize artists and people, you know, who are movers and shakers. A lot of times we see people as products and not as people. And I want to, you know, as we're going and doing the Rise movement and putting out music and all this kind of stuff, I want to make sure that people are humanized and not seen as products. And so, yeah, for my wife and I were just talking before this, and we're talking about how, you know, I've been in San Antonio for a while, and I grew up here, and, you know, people have come to the city, people have left, and the Lord has really blessed me with a name that precedes me meeting people. And so people kind of hear about me before they meet me. Same thing with my wife, and we're just
I don't know about that.
you know, I mean, we're one, you know, so
You're right.
so
So usually if they've heard me before, they're just like, I've seen you on social network. You're Jarrell's wife.
Yeah.
Yep.
so they see you before they actually meet you. And so a lot of times for me, what I want to do, like today, I want to share our story, you know, and specifically how we came to the Lord, and then where we're going from there. So without further ado, welcome, Janelle.
Thank you.
Come on. Okay. So you are my favorite person to talk to, and I appreciate the fact that you are being so bold to be on this podcast.
You're welcome.
It's definitely a favor. But I want to have you on here more just because, yeah.
And you have
I'm
definitely helped to. Well, no,
you
you are a hype man even at home, so this is not anything abnormal. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, I feel like you definitely have been like trying to prepare me for doing this more with you. Like all that last year, I feel like when we were in festival mode.
in festival
And
mode, yeah.
I was having to, because I was directing the festival, and you were the creative director for it. And so when it came down to like PR, like
Hey, we got
actually be on the news, yes. And I would have like maybe 48-hour notice at best. And it's like, you're going to be on TV and you're going to talk about this thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So that actually was helpful. That season was helpful for today, because at least today I didn't come in here like, you know, shaking and stuff.
Which is awesome.
That's progress.
And so before we even, so a little backstory about the podcast, like we getting to this space, and you're going to, I mean, if you're tracking with us right now, you actually see that we're in a studio. Shout out to Nate Gunn and Nate Gunn Studios. We're here,
Yes.
and this is his space, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in my car right now. I will still be doing car stuff just because I really like that format. But
I don't know why you came to a fancy spot for
because
me,
I needed
my
to
first
schedule. I needed to schedule
I could have done
something.
the car. We talk in the car all the time.
I know. Maybe you could do a car one with me too, though. You just put yourself out there. So,
Sure.
but yeah, we're in a spot right now, and I brought that up because we had actually planned on starting like a year ago, doing this, and
Exactly a year ago, really.
yeah, and we're trying to wait to. You know, I was in another spot, and we're trying to figure things out. It just wasn't working out, and so I wanted to wait to get to a space like this. And you know, at the beginning of this year, I felt like the Lord was just saying, just start. You know, so I started in the car, and kind of enjoyed doing that for a little bit. And yeah, it's the whole as you go thing, just learning as you go, and there's a lot to be said there with that. But talking about preparation, we had actually shot an episode almost a year ago, and so this was already going so much smoother because of the preparation. Look at the preparation. So that's awesome. I want.
I also am not sick this time, so that's helpful. I was like actually getting over the flu and doing my first podcast and shaking and shivering from cameras and all those things. So this is much better.
Here we are.
Praise God.
Look at God. Look at God. So I want you to share your experience in coming to the Lord. I think it could encourage a lot of people. I know that we both kind of came up in and around church, but in different ways. So I want to let you share your coming to Jesus experience.
Sure. Just in a nutshell, like I did grow up in church, grew up in the Baptist Bible Belt. I'm from Alabama. And so I grew up in the Baptist church initially with my parents, and my dad was the one who really shared the gospel with me and like led me to Jesus actually when I was 4. At that point, I accepted the Lord because, my daddy did it. He's just like, I'm just like, okay, where are you going when you die? And he's just like, I'm going to heaven. I'm like, that's where I'm going. What do I need to do? Because I just wanted to be with my daddy. Yeah. And so that was how it started. But I did grow, and and I got baptized in the Baptist church, and but then years later, when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, we left the Baptist church. Which, if you know anything about the Baptist Bible Belt in Alabama, in the 80s, you know how significant this is. Was we left and went to a non-denominational church, so we became the holy rollers and all that kind of stuff that was happening back then, and that people would say, and definitely became a little bit more like weird in the family, the extended family, But my parents just really just want to know more about the Holy Spirit and things, and so we went to a different church. And
give some context for that, because you say holy rollers and all that kind of stuff. What did that look like in a service?
It did not look like it did in the Baptist church.
Of course.
It was very much like what they refer to as like more spirit filled, and so it was a little louder in worship, and definitely a lot of emphasis on the Holy Spirit with evidence of that you've received the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, those kind of things. And so it was.
Were there tambourines? Were there flags? Because that's
flags.
That's what,
well, of course.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, this is
Well, of course, yeah.
So yes, lots of very very expressive kind of worship to the Lord. And so during that time, there was some different church transitions and things, but I landed at a church that called a more of a larger church that exposed me to actually a camp, like my first experience with a Christian camp. My dad actually had went behind my back and signed me up for camp, because at that point in my walk, I had kind of turned from the Lord, and I was more angry at God is really what it was, because of things that had happened in my family. So my mom ended up having a mental breakdown, and I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and bipolar, and it was like just turned chaos during those preteen years. And so I just got really angry at God about that whole thing, because my world just totally flipped upside down. And so he knew that I needed Jesus. And so he signed me up for camp. And so they were busing youth out to this camp in Texas, called Discovery Camp in Columbus, Texas. And I was like, you're sending me where? I don't have friends there, because I did not like going to the youth group. Like I was just very, very cold, spiritually speaking. So anyways, I went to camp, and it was the Perfect Love theme summer. If you know anything about Discovery Camp, there's a new theme every year. And that summer, I literally experienced the true love of Jesus in a very personal way. And I was literally at the altar, and I gave I basically, just renewed my walk with the Lord, and asked Him to forgive me for how I had been the last few years, and I had even, the Lord had supernaturally graced me to even forgive my mom for all the anger and things that I had towards her, and I literally came back different. I came back from camp, and I told my dad, I was just like, "This is what the Lord said. I'm supposed to." I'm supposed to go to Bible school after I graduate high school. At this point, I was the summer before my sophomore year. I was like, I'm supposed to go to Bible school after I graduate, and I'm going to work there at that camp, and I'm going to be in ministry. And he was just like, okay, I believe you. And I was like, okay. And that's what we moved towards. And so anyway, so then I did. I walked with the Lord and was in youth group and leadership in youth group and everything, and had wonderful youth pastors who discipled me, and it was great. And I graduated high school, and I went off to Bible school, and did those things that I felt like the Lord said to do. And in the midst of that, it's when I met you there at that place, and then next thing I know, I'm getting married and ended up in San Antonio.
Coming to
Landed
Texas.
here after the honeymoon.
Yeah, San Antonio specifically. Yeah. Yeah, and I think our stories are pretty similar in the fact that we've both grown up in church. So my story was my parents actually were both in the military. They met in Germany, had me, and they moved to San Antonio when I was about 2. And I grew up in church. My family was saved. And just I'm talking about, yeah. I mean, and it was in that era too, where the traveling preachers were going around telling people what was demonic and all that kind of stuff.
They made it to us in Alabama too.
They made it to you guys.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden you can't watch Smurfs anymore.
Yeah,
You're like, what happened?
And Ninja Turtles, because they only had 3
Looney
fingers
Tunes is off limits. You're just like,
yeah. But they also, like, my parents were, they really instilled a lot of just a godly foundation in me. And it was awesome. So my dad was actually from the country. My mom was from North Carolina, country town in North Carolina. My mom was from the inner city of St. Louis, East St. Louis.
Yeah, they were opposites, like how we are.
Much, yeah. It was just like, how did y'all? And their story is interesting. I should probably have them on it sometime too, but because it's definitely shaped who I am. But yeah, so grew up in church, and I grew up pretty much in the same church my whole life. So Faith Outreach, that's where I grew up, and my dad was serving there as a parking lot attendant, ended up doing youth ministry, then he became an associate pastor, eventually became the pastor of the church and everything. And so I grew up in church. I don't remember a lot of things, so that's not saying anything, but like,
in regards to childhood.
Yeah.
You remember a lot. You have that. Your job is memorizing and presenting, and it's like supernatural, because ask you what happened at the age of 17, and you're like, I don't know. I was in a car.
I remember the major things. That's pretty much it. But
right.
But I don't remember. I remember growing up in church, but I don't remember like actually giving my life to the Lord. My parents told me that I did.
Okay.
But when I was little.
Like, you don't remember actually praying or anything. Oh, okay.
No. I mean,
well, that's awkward.
Yeah. Well,
it's like,
yeah.
Like your parents, no, this has happened.
I mean, and I knew that, like, it just, I've been different since I was a kid. Like, I was always the one praying for people as a child, you know? And
Yeah.
God, I've had like supernatural encounters and all that kind of stuff just as a kid, dreams, all these different things. And so I knew that I had a walk with the Lord. Like I knew that God was doing something. I just didn't know.
90s parent like discipleship is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So
My parents told me I was saved.
yeah. Yeah. And
But
so
a lot of our stories are this way.
yeah.
So that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I think yeah, I could definitely rabbit trail because that's also shaped
We
some
could,
theology too.
right? Focus.
But we're gonna focus.
Focus. Yes.
And so
You were saved.
I grew up.
And you were walking with the Lord. You were in church. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I know that I had a relationship with God. Like there was definitely some things happening there.
Mhm.
What I also grew up kind of thinking about, you know, during our era, we were like concerned about hell and we are concerned about
Very
all
much
of these
so.
different things. And so it was my fear, my main thing and my main driver was not really the love of God. It was just the fear of what happens if I don't follow God. And so it was so there was a lot of that going on too.
And that same spirit is what kept us from watching our cartoons.
Well, we still, yeah. Like we still snuck some Ninja Turtles and Smurfs in there every now and then, played some video games, did things.
Right.
But oh Lord. But yeah, the fear was the main like driver for me. And so when fear is the main driver, I didn't really it was submitting to rules, and it wasn't submitting to God because I loved God or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And even though I'd have these spiritual experiences, but a lot of it was like fear based. Fast forward, I grow up and I'm in this. At 17, I get into a car accident. So there's this car that my parents have, and I don't know why they let me drive it because it was stalling. It would just stall sometimes, but they let me drive it and they just pleaded the blood, and they just, because that was also a parenting thing back in the day.
Absolutely.
Just plead the blood. And so that's what they did. They pleaded the blood. And so we were saved. We actually, like, we lived on my parents, when they were in the military, we lived on base housing. And then when my dad got out of the military to pursue ministry full time, he went into like full-time ministry. We moved off of base housing onto the west side of San Antonio, and the west side was definitely not base housing. It was the hood, and I didn't know it was the hood. We didn't know.
I don't know if you knew. Well, no,
Yeah.
You figured it out in high school, right?
I figured it out in high school, and my
later.
friends did not want to go to my side of town, and I was
Right.
like,
And then when you brought me home for the first time, and I'm all looking around going,
yeah.
it's a lot
Just
of
little
graffiti.
hints here and there. Just gotta let me know. But the street that we lived on was called Holy Cross, and so there was a Holy Cross church or school or something like in the area. We're in San Antonio. San Antonio is very influenced by Catholicism. It's there's San Antonio means Saint Anthony. It is it's very influenced by Catholicism. So it's not weird to have,
I knew one
names.
family growing up in Alabama that were Catholic, and I didn't even know where the Catholic church, where they had mass. Like, I have no idea still where that is in the city. So I mean, it's somewhere hidden amongst the Baptist churches. But
that's interesting.
Yeah,
because that's all I grew up around.
No, it was definitely culture shock when I came here. Just like, wait, what? Okay.
And it may have even been North Alabama because Stephen from Southern Alabama, and he was a Catholic. It's very interesting.
Well, North Alabama is definitely different from South Alabama in some ways, which is weird in itself. But
yeah,
a lot of history with that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, 17, I'm driving home in this car and the car stalls in the middle of the road. And so it's like two-way traffic. And so I'm going across this street called Calabria onto Holy Cross, and car stalls, and that car accident, it should have been, I think it should have been more tragic than it ended up turning out. And God used that scenario to get me to ask the question of if I was actually a disciple of Jesus or if I was just doing my own thing under the guise of Christianity and following Jesus. Like, was I actually surrendered to him or not? And I wasn't. And so, God didn't cause the accident, but at the same time, it was just like he definitely used that to ask me a question that I had not really thought about that. I hadn't really thought about that before. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up, surrendering my life to the Lord on purpose and ended up from there going to Bible school. That was one of my first acts of surrender because I did not want to go to Bible school. By this time, I was already wanting to pursue music. And so I just wanted to get a job, pursue music and that kind of thing. And ended up going to Bible school and went for 2 years, came back. You were on staff, met you, jumped into youth ministry, and we don't have to give our whole story because people will know us more as we do this. But those are our stories. Definitely grew up in the church and had radical encounters with the Lord, and
as teenagers, which I think definitely helped shape our drive for youth pastoring and things like that.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're jumping now into Rise, and a lot of people know us for doing the Rise movement. There may not be a lot of clarity. They're like, oh yeah, they just minister to creatives. So that's what they do. And we've heard about them, and we do like events and things like that. And God has blessed those events, and they've been like really big events, and it's awesome. We reach a lot of people. Kind of the story behind Rise, I'm going to keep this brief, is that I am a creative, so I do hip hop, spoken word, and all that. You grew up around, you grew up in Florence, Alabama,
musical city.
Yeah. So you want to share a little bit about that aspect of what happens in Florence musically, or what has happened?
Well, I didn't know that it was such a musical city, to be honest, and that influenced my life a lot until adulthood, when about several years ago they came out with a documentary called The Shows. Was it the name of it? The Shows? Or
it was about the shows. I don't remember.
It was about the shows.
Yeah.
Shows was in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I lived in the Quad Cities, so I grew up in Florence, but like my dad grew up in Muscle Shoals, Sheffield, Tuscumbia. That makes up the Quad Cities in the Tennessee Valley of North Alabama. So, but there's just a lot of rich musical history there. And after I watched the documentary, I like had these revelations of like, oh, this isn't normal. Like, this isn't like how everyone grows up. And so I always grew up around people, like around creatives, like in my family, lots of singers, either are dancing, or I don't know a lot of dancers back home, as far as choreography and things. And I was just around that all the time. It's the birthplace of W.C. Handy. So there's like this whole like national like music jazz festival every summer. I grew up going to that. I just grew up with, around all the things. And so I've always been a lover of music, especially, but just the performing arts and things. And I just didn't know that wasn't the norm. And so me even like marrying a music artist was not weird at all. Or being involved. I love the arts. I love performing arts. I cannot do it myself.
Yeah.
I do not have those skills. But I enjoy it, and I love supporting the arts with the skills I do have administratively or whatever. But yes, I've always been surrounded by creatives, and
I'm laughing because I remember when I told your dad that I was going to propose to you, and me being young and just knowing for sure that music was going to be my thing.
It's the grace of God that so many people supported us getting married. Like, looking back, I'm like, why did they all, like, so, because we literally asked people, like, we went and fasted and prayed. We asked other people, like, spiritual, like, we looked up to or admired spiritually or who had discipled us, whatever, like, to pray. Yeah. And, like, everyone was just, like, totally in agreement. Like, it was wild. But, like, looking back, like, why? Why did they let us? I think you were selling vacuums when we first started dating. Like, what on earth?
Kirby. Shout out to Kirby, keeping the dream alive. Kirby and Cutco, keeping the dream alive.
But I told your dad,
I told your dad, I was like, yeah. So I really would like to marry Janelle, and so I just kind of rolled out my big plan. I was like, so I'm gonna be doing music, and he was like. He said, it's okay. It's okay. And I was like, he's like, it's okay. And I was like, okay. And I don't know if he was trying to console me or give me his blessing. I don't know which one it was, but he said it was okay. So
that was the Holy Spirit. He's a man of God, and he was letting the Spirit speak through him. Yeah. It did make a lot of sense.
Yeah. But we grew up around creatives and creativity, and my family was very creative. I didn't grow up around cousins and uncles and all that kind of stuff because, again,
military family.
So
I grew up with dozens of aunts and uncles and
so
cousins.
My thing with creativity, it happened in my natural, in my family. My sisters, mom, dad, even my brother can sing. There was that aspect of it. My mom wrote poetry, and she was making ceramics and all of these different kind of things. Very creative. And so we both have that in common as far as growing up around creatives and having a love for just creativity in general. Mm-hmm. So while I was, working at the church, I came back from Bible school, started working at the church, youth pastor, ended up doing youth, children, worship arts, dance ministry, that kind of stuff, and just overseeing all of that. At the same time, I was also doing my music ministry, and so that started taking off. Long story short, because I explained this in another video, but long story short, I had a situation that I didn't know how to verbalize it then, but it was definitely like a mental health situation where I was just having suicidal thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And you brought to my attention that I didn't have community as a creator. I didn't have friends. It was more so people that I was working with at the church and all that kind of stuff. And not to say that that there were not friendships there, but it was friendships tied to work. And that's what it was. And so we ended up starting Rise out of a need for community. And so community has always been the focus. And we started off, kind of having stuff at our house and inviting creatives to the house.
It's basically just making friends with people who have the same interests as you. It's basically what was happening.
Yeah.
And it did a world of good for you. Like it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely the Lord, and I needed that at that point in my life. And so, but for us, Rise has always been community focused because of how it started. Now, me personally, I've taken personality tests. And for me personally, I'll just say this, with personality tests, there are certain like gifts and wirings that are conducive for growing community and nurturing community and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I am not that. I'm not that. And it took me a while to really own that and say that, because I'm like, okay, again, I grew up in the church, definitely have a heart to disciple people and to love people and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm like,
we
okay,
love God, we love people. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, part of me, it was hard for me to even say, yeah, I'm not a person who just wants to hold and cuddle people and be like, it's going to be okay. And the thing that I needed in the moment of me actually creating Rise, like I needed like a pastor, like a pastoral heart who was just able to be like, okay, hey, let's sit down, let's talk, and nurture, and that, so that I can be built up to go do the things. And I didn't really feel like I had that. Community helped me with that. And so, but when we started Rise, we started, it was like several hundred people who signed up the first couple of weeks. We started having things at our house, and it's like 60, 70 people packing our house, and we're going to parks.
House
Right. And so then I feel like I have a moral obligation to these people to disciple them all. And it took me a while to realize that my capacity is probably about 5 or 6 people that I can actually invest into and check up on and be like, hey, like,
I mean, but is that abnormal though?
I don't think it's abnormal. I think that there's a culture,
and the culture, in America, like, we want to feel like we can, disciple hundreds or, walk with hundreds, but in reality, what all that entails. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you see Jesus had like 12, and he was like,
so if you have
guy.
6, I mean, you're doing great. I mean,
so yeah, but it took me, again, because I growing up in church, I have this whole church model of, hey, we've got to disciple all of these people, and what's going to happen to them, and they're sharing stories with us.
If I'm not the one to do it, then what's going to happen? Like that distrust of other people's walks. Like if you trust other people to lead and to go, then like, everyone's going to perish, and definitely fear-based.
For sure. And so it took me a long while to just get to a place to say, you know what, I'm going to operate in the way that I'm wired to operate, which is very creative. It's I took a 5 voices assessment, and my giftings on that were creative connector. So I love to connect with people. I love to create, and that's just been my thing. And it took me a while to get out of a mindset of, man, how do I say it? It took me a while to get out of a mindset of like religious duty, and just to be free to say, okay, I'm going to operate in the way that God's wired me to operate in. But I'm here now.
Well, and I mean, you also had probably your whole life. I know adulthood. I only know your adulthood. We got married, as younger adults, but in adulthood, I mean, there's just been people constantly going, "Oh, you're supposed to be a pastor. You're called to be a pastor." And I've watched the kind of back and forth and up and down that's happened because of that, hearing that in your ear all the time, and then we're both just like we've said from the very beginning, like like of our marriage. It's just like we're not called to be pastors,
Yeah.
but yet we kept finding ourselves and landing there and kept being guided there and invited into that kind of space all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Man, that's hard.
yeah, for sure. I mean, which is it's hard.
Yeah, because I think when people say pastor, they think of people who are caring for other groups of people, and I yeah,
And we do care for people.
we do. Yeah,
We
Yeah.
definitely, I think that's definitely a common value that we both have. It's like we
Mhm.
love God and we love people, and that's going to be till as long as we're here on this earth. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
You know. So, but loving people does not automatically mean, because you love God and you love people, does not automatically mean you're supposed to pastor a growing church congregation.
yeah, yeah,
Those are two different things. But when you've been in ministry, we've been ministry trained, you know, been in Bible school, like, you know, like, I mean, it makes sense. Like, it
Mhm.
makes sense, but neither one of us has felt that on the inside of like, yes, that's definitely what we're supposed to be doing. We just knew we're supposed to we're supposed to be in ministry.
yeah,
But a lot of times people think ministry means that you are pastoring.
yeah.
And the rest of the congregation is, I guess, just not in ministry. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah, and part of it too is because our vision really does have a pastoral aspect to it. So RISE, if you don't know, RISE is an acronym that stands for Reach, Involve, Study, and Empower. So Reach, that's kind of like our outreach component. We want to reach people, creatives specifically, wherever they are. But after we reach them, we want to involve them in community. And that's kind of where Rise was birthed, and it was birthed out of a need for community. And so that held a special place in my heart. And I know that community is necessary, not just in the creative space, but just biblically, right? Like we're supposed to live in community. And then, the S stands for study. And so we have environments where we're offering, art
training
education,
and,
art education, music education,
workshops
and stuff like
things.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the empowerment aspect of it is that we want to create platforms for artists and creatives. And so what we're doing right now is a part of that platform. We just had a festival last year that was a part of that platform. And so, yeah, we had to like look and focus and say, hey, God's given us this big vision. And a lot of times this is how God works. He'll give you a vision that's bigger than yourself. And then he's just like, okay, you just go ahead and figure it out. And he brings people along the way to help with that vision. And so I think for us, and I think it's kind of an Achilles heel for us, is like we generally try to do things ourselves and without bringing in a lot of other people. We're growing now. I think the festival really stretched us to bring in other people because it wasn't going to happen without other people jumping in.
I think we're stretching to a breaking point.
To a breaking point. This rubber band almost snapped. And so, did it snap? It snapped? Did it snap for you?
So close.
So close. So we're at a place right now where we're like, for me, I have this vision, but I'm thriving in the empowerment space. Like I really want to empower creatives because that's where the creativity is happening. And also in the reaching space too, because of how we're structuring Rise now, where we're reaching people through creativity. And so I'm excited about it. And then we have partnerships now to fill in the rest of the other gaps and everything. So I'm excited. So we're still doing Rise. For all of our people who are supporting us and all that kind of stuff, we're still doing it. We're just laser focused on what God has called us and wired us to do, and then we're filling in those other spaces with relationships and everything. And I think you're going to see a lot of fruit from that. It's going to be really cool. So, Janelle, I'm excited about your next venture and our next venture with looking into the for-profit space. Mm-hmm. We've been, again, we were raised up in church. Nonprofit has been our context for a long time, even though your family, a lot of business people there.
Yeah. A lot of businesses in my family.
Yeah.
Very, that like long, like they raised their families and provided for their families through their business kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like known in the community. Yeah.
So yeah, truth be told, nonprofit, like you stepping into nonprofit, that was uncomfortable.
Are you referring to the Rise Movement being a nonprofit?
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for me,
I've worked for nonprofits, obviously, because I've worked for churches and ministries and things. And for over 20 years, I've done administrative work, and it's typically either been in the nonprofit sector or it's been in the medical world. So in medical offices and things, but actually starting one and like that's what we are doing, like a nonprofit, was definitely stretching for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And before we started Rise, we actually had and still have a for-profit.
Your music business.
Yeah, which is my music business called Freedom Music Group. It's where I house all my music and all that kind of stuff.
And when you go out and perform or do creative work for others or consult, whatever, everything has been through that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so recently the Lord has like surrounded us with business people. I think of like,
it's been fun.
Yeah. I didn't know that this is what I needed, to be honest.
I love small business. I love small business owners. It's
So yeah, I didn't know that this is what I needed, but like people, like Mike Jarrell, C12, and the whole C12 tribe.
Him and his wife. It's such a blessing.
Yeah. And then, Lisa, Fullerton, just people, yeah, people who are just like business minded, doing excellent and business for the glory of God, and so patient because we're trying to like, for me, I feel like I'm trying to unlearn some things too, because at some point, and I love nonprofit, and we're having conversations about how nonprofits and for-profits can work together. But yeah, I love just adding value to the community and getting paid for it. That's awesome. and so like we have like a serving heart, servant mentality, which is great. And so kind of jumping into this for-profit space, what are you most excited about?
That comment, go back to that. Like why did you say that comment? Are you referring to like you didn't used to?
What do you mean?
Like serving the community and getting paid for it?
I mean, with the nonprofit thing, I mean, you serve the community at your own expense. Like that's how it is
smaller
normally
nonprofits
been.
Normally. Yes.
For me,
that's what we're used
to. If I'm working with youth pastors, I'm sorry, if I'm working as a youth pastor and I want to do something, I got to do a bake sale, or I got to.
Yes. It was a lot of raising our own funds, and,
Yes, yeah, and so, and it's not, it's adding value to the community, which is I've always been community focused, but adding that value, you do it at your own expense. Like you have to figure out how to hustle and all that kind of stuff, and the reward of that. The reward of that is, and I'm not going to say that it is very rewarding, but a lot of the rewards are intangibles. They're like maybe somebody will come to church, or maybe somebody will give their life to the Lord, or maybe somebody,
or just people's testimonies of how they've been impacted.
Yeah. Or
Lots
somebody, and we've seen that within Rise too.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of like testimonies of people, their lives changing and all of that. But as I think about San Antonio, and I think about what good news is to San Antonio, and that's really shaped my reason for wanting to go into the for-profit thing too, because San Antonio, stats say that San Antonio is one of the poorest big cities in the U.S.
Yeah, the per capita.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so because of that, I'm like, okay, what does good news mean to San Antonio? And it does mean generating wealth. Like if I really want to serve the city in a way that impacts them, like Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, is anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. Like, what does that look like tangibly? And so business is the best way to do that.
Especially for creatives.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always been that stigma of like the whole starving artist thing, that people can subconsciously give into and act out and live out, and but we don't need to like that saying, I don't know, some meme I saw before, so it's something to the effect of like don't feed a starving artist, buy their art, they can feed themselves, you know what I mean? And that's like the impact that is best long term for us, as as you as a creative and the community as a whole, and for them to actually thrive and have impact in the city. Our whole heart with the Rise movement is to to empower them, like to empower these artists, empower them to transfer culture, and with good news, like that they're live out the gospel in the city, because the arts is so impactful in a city, period. And so the arts district, like the city's pouring money into it because it knows it needs to grow, because it impacts everything. It impacts every business. Every business has creatives that they need to hire to play certain roles, or it's not going to go well. You know what I mean? That we all know what it looks like when you don't have a creative on your social network platform. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't have one, who's out, and and even how they present themselves in front of crowds, and when it comes to sales, like all that kind of thing, like is impacted by, okay, how do you have a thriving arts community that you can contract with or hire on, but full time with your business, whatever. And so, but they have to know how to multiply their resources, multiply what they have, actually, which means, make money, so that they can continue to do that. And they can continue to be a stronger impact in the community and things. And I think that's something that was missing, was missing for you, for sure. For a long time. Like you did a lot of, like I remember when we got married, like there was a lot of like going out for a hot dog. You know what I'm saying? Like you would go out and like be there for hours, impacting people's lives at other people's events. You got a hot dog and some handshakes and some testimonies. You were good, but that was not. But that was not sustainable. That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially as you were growing a family, and and just getting closer and closer to retirement. Just all the things. It was just like, like these kind of teaching and growth, like in the arts community, it affects them, which affects the community, which affects the city. And so, and just goes outward, like it's
and we've grown. Thing. We've grown a lot since starting, and not just spiritually, not just relationally, but we've just grown even in recognizing our worth and understanding like that there is a business aspect to what we're doing,
and to embrace it.
It's
not evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, spicy. Yeah. I would share this in closing. There was a platform that it was an event that we used to just do every year, and it was, I think this is kind of like a picture of that growth. The event that we did every year, it was amazing, and I am still grateful for those people who were doing that event. It was
when we had
an
our
outreach.
stage.
No.
Oh,
No, it was an event that
you used to be booked for. Oh, okay.
Yes, and it was an outreach event.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to pay us,
and it was phenomenal.
They
did such a great job.
Incredible.
They were with what they had. Yep.
And so I started doing hip hop, and so the fact that they would actually pay, it was like over a couple of days. You know, sometimes they would have this event over 2 days, and I'd come out and do concerts and all that kind of stuff, and they would pay us a few $100s. It was like 300 or something, and that was our event that we were looking,
which was great back then. I mean, this is like 20 years ago. I feel like no, we've been married 20 years, so we're talking about like over 10 years ago.
But we're just like, yes, this is amazing. It's awesome, and
because you weren't going out for just a hot dog.
Because they also had hot dogs and paletas there.
Oh my goodness, the girls and I loved going.
And I brought my kids and all of that kind of stuff, and we were just like, yes, $300. Yes, this is awesome, and they're giving us hot dogs and
gift cards and stuff.
I'm telling you, we saw some crazy things, but it was hot out there, y'all. It was hot.
Yeah, it was one of those summertime outreach.
It was a summertime outreach.
Why do we do that?
The clowns there, the clowns at the outreach, you know, their face paint was just melting. I was like, Texas. You should not be around children looking like that. But you know what? It was a great time.
It was a great
and we had an amazing time. And so, I remember having that inward battle the last time, and we're like, okay, you know what?
After we're gonna have years to raise of the exact same.
Yes. And I said, we're gonna have to like raise our price. And I was so like, oh my goodness, this is ministry. I can't do this. You've
come a long way, man.
Yeah, and it was
But I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. I was freaking out. And I was like, we're gonna lose. This is our best one, and we're gonna lose it.
Okay. But in fairness, I mean, it's hilarious, really. But in fairness, you've always done, as far as your music business goes, or any type of ministry, whatever, for those who consider them two different things, that you were always, it was always through relationship. Mm-hmm. So you've never marketed, you've never put out ads to bring you out to something. It's always been through relationship, always been through someone referring you. And that could be a whole nother topic in itself, but I'm just saying that was the factuals. All right. Mm-hmm. So for you, I've had to practice a lot of patience in that area and understanding because these are your relationships. Right. It wasn't just these are clients that popped up because they saw an ad. These are people you know what I'm saying? And so anytime trying to help you grow and, it's just getting closer and closer to your value, and what you bring as far as the fee goes, honorarium, whatever terminology you want to use today. But as far as that goes, it was always a struggle, not just because of, it's dollar amounts. It's because that's relationship. And you didn't want to offend or hurt or anyone, or to, even be disconnected because now they can't. Maybe it's not in budget, and a change needs to happen for them, and someone else take that opportunity. But but then it's but then what if they don't take care of them as well as you do, because you care? You know what I mean? You genuinely care about every event, every event planner or pastor, whoever brought you out. And so it's been a slow journey, but it's not just because you just don't get it. It's because there's people involved, and you really do love God and love people. And so that's been a little difficult. So
yeah, we've grown a lot since then, and thank God that there are some exciting things happening now There's some exciting things happening. What are you most excited about? I asked you this in the car.
I know, but you didn't preface it the same way in the car. So now I'm all trying to figure out, like, put it with what we're talking about now, and then go, what am I? And I told you, I always thought there was a weird question to ask an introvert. Like, excited, you know?
You get excited.
I get excited. Okay, you're right. I do get excited about opportunities to serve more people in a greater way and even make more financially out of it, so that we can continue to do that in a better way for the next person. Those are the things that excites me.
Yeah.
So you're right. I do.
Yeah.
Like a good bird. Like the birds, we do business. You know, I like that kind of stuff. Those kind of things excite me. By the way. Yes. But so there's been opportunities like I've taken on. You've always been my only client as far as booking. Like I've always well, it's been up and down as far as if I help how much I do for you when it comes to booking. There's been seasons where I'm like, I got an infant. It's just like you on your own, buddy. But pretty much all this time, like I've been your booking and things majority of the time. And so now I'm actually doing someone else's. Now I have another outside client that paid clients actually help them to get on stages and things. And I'm really hoping to do more of that, even taking on even more clients to help them in that area, especially if it's inbound, like you just like you need someone to help with like the travel and the organizing and the communicating with the event and just all those different things. I actually enjoy that. And I think since Adira started school, Adira is our youngest, my youngest just started school just a few months ago. And so since then, I've just kind of been like, okay, what do I enjoy the most when it comes to administrative work? Because I've done all kinds for so many years, but what do I really enjoy? And I really feel like I've landed on like, that is my favorite, helping creatives in an area that is not their strength, which is typically administratively when it comes to that communication, staying organized and actually showing up to the events on time. Like those little things, like it makes a huge difference. Like showing up, being prepared, knowing what's happening, like that the event, they know what you need, what you don't need, I like all those kinds of things, and just organized and taken care of. Like that's actually something that I do love. I do enjoy.
Yeah, it's good.
It's playing a part in their impact that they do for the audience there. So.
That's awesome. And I'm excited about just our role with Rise and focusing specifically on the empowering artist thing. So, and I want to lead by example. I've told you this, but I want to lead by example as an artist this year. And so releasing music and, we've got a couple of communities within Rise. We want them to release some music as well. So I'm excited. I think it's a good season, and then even just building this platform just for creatives. Festival and digital platform, all that kind of stuff. We want to do that well for people. So
by the grace of God.
Yeah, by the grace of God. It takes money. It takes money to do it, and so God is definitely like expanding our capacity to believe for stuff beyond ourselves, and just believing for other people and all of that stuff. So we're building slowly but surely. It's coming, and I think this focus that we talked about is a big part of that. So love you, sweetie.
Love you too.
All right. I think we've had a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully you'll be back. If you want
me
to,
Kava.
Oh Lord, gotta go right now.
Back.
If you want to connect with us, go to risemovement.co and you can find out more about Rise and what we do within the community, upcoming events and all that kind of stuff. If you want to support what we're doing, we are a 501c3, risemovement.co/give. And that helps us to build this platform and really to do the platform here, but then also we're still talking about our festival and all that kind of stuff, projects that we're going to be working on. All of that support helps to go towards our projects and things. So excited about it. Thank you, Janelle, for joining me. Shout out to Nate Gunn Studios. We're in here. So hit them up if you need any podcast stuff. If you like this vibe, hit them up and shout out to them. We'll see you next time on Creative Process.